the month of February, and a bit of a challenge to do. Sometimes when you take a look at everything is around you, but I can't but encourage you to keep your eye on the prize. And as much as possible, don't let what's happening around, where's the weather, whether it's Nigeria, whatever it is, get to keep your head up high and keep determining to give your best and be your best. That's my little TED talk for the afternoon. And I'm saying that coming from a place of, whew, what a day it's been. Running around here, just trying to get things working out. So yes, I can relate, I believe. And that's why I'm sharing some of what I'm sharing. But perhaps some of you are having it good. Somebody who said, money I defined, I don't know what's sending me and the rest of you. But either way, we must stay in the know of what's going on in our country. And that's why we're here on your number one talk station, 95.0 Info. My name is Somi. That's SOMI, short for Somi. Or, if it's not too much of a tongue twister, you can call me the Anemu Mbakara 1 of Nigeria Info. And on the big three this afternoon, we're starting off big with my trying to play fast one on me and give me heart attack. Senator Iroegbu, how are you doing, sir? Good to have you here.
Thank you, Somi. It's been a while. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yes, so you're looking well. Cut soap for me, Senator. Cut soap.
You know the secret. Should I share?
Please do.
You try to not bother yourself too much with the drama. But teaching them
but still be, yes. Don't shut it off completely. Yes, so just know, but know enough.
So that they don't give you heart.
Never. Okay. In case you're wondering what Senator and I are going on, we'll get into some of that in our big three stories. Senator Iroegbu is a security/public affairs analyst, convener of Geopolitics series, and editor-in-chief still at the Global Now. Am I in order? Am I correct? Okay.
Correct.
All right. So let's talk Nigeria for the next hour or so and get to know what's going on. The protesters hit the streets again yesterday, talking about Peter Akaf, Minister for Nigeria, and a coalition of civil society organizations who I know Madam Enobi was spearheading the protest concerning the reserve seat women, but that was happening at the same time while you had Nigerians also arguing for mandatory electronic transmission of results. And I understand that the protests were called off last week because the National Assembly had told them that following the Tuesday session that they were going to, look into it. Now, we know that they came out of that plenary session with a funny conditional electronic transmission of result thing. But we're hoping against hope. And I say we, I include myself. One of the Nigerians that we're hoping that the House of Representatives who actually passed a version allowing for mandatory electronic transmission of results without kokona wuru. We're hoping that when they came to do the harmonization, maybe we'll have seen the will of Nigerians prevail. And I give it to the House of Representatives, they tried. We can say to an extent that they tried. It got to a point where the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, put the motion to a voice vote, asking the House of Representatives Committee on Rules and Business, who moved a motion for the House to reverse its decision on the bill that they passed. So, harmonization time is here, and you would think the House of Representatives will debate and say, no, there's a reason we passed this version. And so when the Senate committee comes, there will have to be some mix that. Long story short, the Speaker moved for motion for them to reverse the version that they passed, allowing for mandatory electronic transmission of results in December last year. And the nays apparently were louder than the ayes. Typically, when the voice votes, thing comes into play, and also, again, we've questioned that thing before. Yes, we have. When you have that, is either the ayes are louder than A's, or they sort of like in this case, it is stated there that nays were louder than the A's and the ayes. But the Speaker, Tajuddin Abbas, actually ruled that the ayes had it, and it triggered a protest. The House of Representatives members got up in protest about call for an executive session, but not resolve the issue because the House was plunged into a rowdy session. And lawmakers apparently in the House of Representatives continued the protest over Clause 63, which deals with compulsory electronic transmission of results, stating that they were the version that they passed in December. And it got to the Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu wanted to continue with the proceedings, and the members of the House of Representatives, it's not clear that all of them, the nays that had it in actual fact, stood on their feet, preventing Benjamin Kalu from continuing with the proceeding. Eventually, they walked out of plenary. So there was some kind of effort there, but unfortunately, still following up with the story, we got to find that despite the protests, the reps eventually rescinded the passage of their version of the electoral bill, and they've adopted the Senate version. So you know that thing where they say, oh, because I was of that opinion last week. I was like, at least we have members of the legislature who are considerate of what Nigerians want and are standing their ground. But despite that, tell me how the House of Representatives ended up passing this bill. Apparently, when lawmakers were walking out, there were chants of APC Ole in the chamber. But all of that changed nothing. Now, this is happening while the protesters outside were being tear gassed. Reports also have it that the protesters outside engaged in peaceful protest, no evidence of anything untoward, were being tear gassed. I'd like to get your thoughts on this, Senator.
Okay, I think it shows you how, like, still boils down to our discussion, the discussion we had earlier, about the drama.
Yeah.
Sometimes even what you describe in the House of Rep with the issue of being loud out, speaker insisting. Sometimes, if you watch World Wrestling Entertainment, you understand what is called choreography. Sometimes fight drama can be choreographed.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, dear God. Oh.
So even the so-called opposition or this thing can also be staged.
Do you think that possibly happened in this instance?
It can. The ability is highly there. I'm just trying to create a scenario.
Okay.
Because eventually, when you are saying this, I wanted to say, land, what I see, what is the outcome finally?
After all the...
Still, you see what was the outcome.
Yeah.
And this outcome is what has been predetermined eventually. And that is so sad. Because when we begin to, why should this fear of electronic transition be coming from the ruling party? If you're looking at the reality of political alignment and heavyweight, especially, you almost think that Nigeria is a one-party state, whereby the almost over 30 governors out of the 36 are in one party, ruling party. And you may think that, this party should be so confident that whatever it is, whatever means they stand the battle, will say it. They are grounded, they are confident that, they are Nigeria solidly behind them, because over 30 states with them. They say there was a report that they register over 10 million members, all those kind of...
Using e-registration.
Exactly.
Okay.
So now you begin to ask, what is the fear? Why are they scared? Why are they... Is it that they don't believe in that they can really... that popular? Because why people are talking about this electronic... the real time. It's so that as you are voting, people can know the facts about the result of it. Will reflect what is being voted for. There will not be room for manipulation, because what happened in 2023 was a litmus test, where Nigerians actually want to know, but suddenly something happened. People were following through, going to IREF, to track, real time what was going on, until that infamous glitch. And at the courts, when people raise objection, because there was some areas where they brought mutilated
from ECA,
yes, figures and all this, and they disputed that. Of course, said we can't rely on electronic result or transfer result because it is not constitutional. There's no law backing it, making mandatory.
Of course.
It say it is at the discretion of INEC, meaning that INEC can decide to discontinue whatever electronic figure is showing and rely unmutilated form. Whatever INEC says is authentic, it's authentic. Even if you mutilate the form, you have seen it evidently as it happened in Rivers State, that these figures were grossly mutilated, crudely mutilated. There was no even pretense out. In fact, you could see figures being changed. INEC tells you this is big they are accepting. That's what court is saying. This is to them is authentic. Not what you are claiming that came through. That's what court is going to. And it's okay, let's use this window to change this reality. Since every 4 years, there's always a window to, improve and our electoral law that will guide the next election. Then the senators within there are trying to create loophole. But at least there's progress. At least Nigerians are waking up. At least Nigerians are holding them accountable and know that all eyes are on them. Like I say, those kind of drama that is to still say, but we fought, so we try to see things being, reason with what Nigerians are looking for. But at the end, majority have their way.
But Senator, you see this that you're making, I want to hold very firmly to the belief that it was this, because could they faked it all the way from when they first passed it? Because they first passed mandatory electronic transmission of results, so means that their intention and their heart, if you will, was in the right place from the beginning.
The initial passage.
Yes.
Could be genuine. I'm talking of the letter, the drama that was playing out, all those things. I think...
Yeah, you seem to be from a place of deep knowledge about the representatives to say this.
Because sometimes in our politics, they say the more you look, the less you see, and there are events that you need to look at. If you're in politics, Nigerian politics, you need to try and find out the end goal. Forget all the process, how they arrive there. How they arrive there is immaterial. Sometimes they use drama.
No, but why can we not take it to be that what it is that the Speaker of the House and the Deputy Speaker their alliance are not with the Nigerian people for them to obviously want to insist against the majority vote in the House, voice vote nonetheless. Why can't we take it that it is the deputy and the
majority vote?
Yes.
Is it to rescind?
The majority vote said the motion was rescind what we earlier passed and align with the Senate. And majority of us representatives said no.
Okay. And the Speaker insisted.
The Speaker insisted that the ayes that did not have it must have it by force. And even when the nays who wanted the electronic mandatory transmission of results to start stage, they walk out.
Okay.
At the end of the day,
I was thinking it's the other way.
Hey God.
So, good. So this
because it will hurt me.
The other way. That was what I think.
No.
Okay, maybe this is just a drama to.
Oh no.
Okay,
majority of the House wanted the electronic mandation as they passed.
Which is that means I have to be positive now. So it means that yes, I was thinking it's the other way. Honestly, I was thinking it's the other way. Right. I didn't really get the angle of this thing. So it means the Speaker and that's the principal officers of the House must have meeting with principal officers from this, and they behind the scene they must arrive that this is what we want. Like someone said that, look, sometimes these people don't want to commit what's called class suicide. Showing to a large extent, people from the House of Rep are actually in. I will not say it's people who did not, who are now the member of the senators. We are not elected by the people. But if you look from the reality of things, most people from the House of Representatives, to an extent, genuinely represent what the voting public wanted, because sometimes most of them are unknown quantities before they came into the House of Rep, though some of them has cross-petted. If you remember in 2020, there are a lot of them who were not known. I even had some were Okada riders, and they followed the wave that time. They were just voting. But they came to this and tasted power and decided to join the. But if you check the senators, these are people like a retirement home for money bags. These are people who can buy their way, who, and if you check from what if you believe what is hard on the street, Though we've been told that sometimes the noise on social media and the street is not the reality during voting. But if you check, most of these people are people who are really loaded. Their people are tired of them in it. So sometimes they may not actually believe in leaving the system just entirely for the people to decide. So they still leave some clauses whereby they can, if there's opportunity,
they can have their way.
To have their way, and that's what is happening. So House of Rep, to an extent, we still have radicals there. We still have some people who still have the feel the pulse, because these are people who are they want for kind of be cutting off from reality of what the people feel. But these are former governors, heavy money bags, who have been shielded from the people for a long time, spending 8 years as governors and this and that, or one role or the other. They don't go to the same market we go for a long time. Well, as we buy for a long time. Their children don't attend the same school we attend in Nigeria for a long time. They don't holiday here. They don't go to the hospital. So most of these people, they don't feel the reality, don't feel the pulse. So for their own, they can't commit what is class suicide. So when you are talking, we are protesting, they are not looking at what you are talking. They are looking at
what they want.
What will favor them, what will be at the end, guarantees them that they have loophole, they have ways that can shoot themselves in the foot. And that's why the protest, the civil space have to be active. The only thing that can make them listen is to be force them to listen the voices of the people.
I mean, you have people who have been on the street, for what? This is the 4th day now, not consecutively because they took a pause. This is civil society. These are Nigerians on the street speaking, and then they adopt the same old tactic, which is tear gassing to disperse them. This is despite the fact that they didn't even allow them to protest within the National Assembly.
If you check,
they're outside the premises.
The price you pay for reforms for ballot has always been like that. So nobody is going to give you change or give you power in a platter. You have to, work for it. And this is what we've been saying about the civil space. They are starting late. For a long time, it's as if there are no civil society organizations, there are no pressure groups, because government will take all manner of policies, but even anti-people, that everybody will just take it in their stride. People will be asking, we are the CSOs. We are the pressure groups. Nothing is going on. So now they are starting. It's not going to be maybe just because you did one day protest, the senators will say, "Oh, we want you to have your way." No, there has to be it has to be sustained. It to be there has to be passion. There has to be sustainability to draw to ensure that these people listen.
In the face of testing, in the face of being harassed, sent off the streets, you are saying this to continue.
No. What I'm saying is that it's not that the action of government is acceptable. But what I'm saying is that despite this, they have to find a way to beat them to it.
What would that look like?
It happened in the past. There have been protests, the June 12th, and the people were killed, people were kidnapped, people were tear gassed, but people still find a way to continue to speak to power. At the end, it paid off. Military have to give power because people have sacrifice. People have to pay.
So you think there's still a chance for something to be done concerning this?
There's still a chance. And that's why I say it's not a one-off thing. It has to be sustained. And all strata of the civil society, just like the way that, and we are talking about it, it has to be condemned. Government has to call to order that you suppress, civil voices, critical voices. It's part of democracy. You can't tear gas people into silence. And this is where media comes in. This is where the public, members of the public, because if the protesters are doing it in isolation, all stratas of the civil society don't key in to support them, to add, to amplify what they are doing. That's where the powers that be will have the upper hand, isolate them and easily disperse or crush them. But if all these ills or the violation or the high-handedness, let me use that word, that government is using or security agencies are condemned, and this condemnation are amplified, or the voices, whatever the protesters are saying, which is in interest of the public, the electorate, are amplified, and we keep on talking about it, you're raising it. I think it's at the end. At the end, whether this, I've talked about how they are cocooned away from the feeling of the society, yet they still come from the society. They'll still drive or fly, even if they continue flying, they still land. Whatever goes up must come back. They have their communities they go to, share rights and this thing. By the time members of the citizens are sensitized, you come to share them rights, they chase you away and they tell you, look, we don't want you conceiving us. They will listen. So if the civil society continue to press on, continue to shout or raise their voice, raise this issue, and the media continue to amplify it by holding government accountable, not to be high-handed, not to use right violation tactics, there may be result, because there have been result. Initially they didn't. There was a compromise. The Senate, the one they passed. Initially they didn't want to even entertain it at all, until there was a protest. Then they shifted grants more, still inserted a clause that will still give them. Immediately there was some progress, but what we have in the House of Rep now means that we just move 2 steps forward, 2 steps backward, back to square one again. So that means we have to continue talking, we have to continue pressing. And this issue, you raise the voice vote. When it comes to some of these critical issues, this is also what we need to hold the legislature. We need to know legislators where they stand. These are yeas, nays. We don't know who says what, we don't know who stands where. If there can be individual responsibility, we know who voted for what. How in other advanced democracy we look for. We know which rep, what they voted for.
So that you are going to meet to ask questions about why did you...
Why did you vote for this? Convince us, is this what your constituency want? But now these nays and our years, it helps to shield them from responsibility. And this is one of the things we need to also speak against, so that this practice have to stop, and especially in sensitive issues and critical issues like this.
Now, I hear you on that, but you would hear also people say that the rules of the Senate are rules of the Senate. You cannot tell Senate how to go about their business, whether as it has to do with the voting, whether it has to do with sitting arrangements. You hear all sorts of there's some sort of what's the word now?
Excuses or
the word is not called, but some sort of secretive thing around Senate rules and House rules and how you cannot even sit it. It is what it is. We've seen it at play so many times where they are weaponized.
Manipulation. It's just like when in the law, where you say have technicalities, technical, when judges don't want to pass things that is within the popular opinion, there's something that is called the spirit of the law and the letter of the law. So he can choose the one he wants. He can use technicalities to knock off and tell you he didn't because he didn't do it. He can still rule otherwise, looking at the other issues. So the same thing applies to the Senate rule. There's no definite rule that said it must be a voice vote. Exactly. They say they are liberty to adopt. That means they also are liberty to say every man has to answer his father's name in this kind of, because of the, and it has happened before.
Yeah, but this particular Senate is definitely not going that line. This particular Senate is not interested.
Because they have something, they don't want Nigerian, they have something to hide. If they don't have something to hide, the rule is clear enough for them to adopt this and say, okay, we are going to have one. Everybody have to be identified on what they want. Everybody have to identify to be identified based on what they are voting, and it had to be clearly stated. Senator so from Abia State North Central, are you voting no or yes? You answer. Senator so from Yobe North, are you voting? But the public we know, their constituents we know. And it's very important because these people are representing constituents. And there are things their constituents want. For goodness sake, we normally look at US, even though they still have impact in their own democracy. But let us even look. They say when you want to pick something from someone, pick the good side of that person. You can leave the bad side. You do understand?
Yeah.
So we look at now the Senate that we are, the US that we are model our style of presidential system, even bicameral legislation after. whatever decision most of their representative or the senators take, they have in consideration, they take it in consideration of what their constituents want. It may not even be what the national. So most times they answer back to their constituents. That's why I see sometimes some of them break out from the majority party decision because their constituents is against that. So, and they know at each point what, in fact, they can trace history or pattern of voting of what a legislator in the US, even if you like, it's 30 years, they can cite in so you voted this, you voted in support of Iraq war, you voted against abortion, you voted. People can be able to judge you based on what you voted for. But here we don't even know what each of the legislators voted for or against. We don't know their voting history. We don't know their voting pattern. We don't know their legislative. Apart, the only thing we know that they say this is sponsor this bill, sponsor that bill.
Move the motion.
That's the only thing we know.
So do we actually? Aren't we just deceiving ourselves by saying that these people are representing us in actual fact? That's one question. But the second question is, if we have a responsive citizenry and an active and involved citizenry who wants these kinds of accountability from its legislators, do you think we can get it? Because a lot of the people will talk about the fact that, I mean, to the best of my knowledge, let us even say that what you're asking for, the voting histories and voting patterns of these legislators were available, would be available to the Nigerian public. That's one. And two, will you have a Nigerian public that will be willing to take up that information and use that to either lobby their representatives, hold their representatives to account? And when the representatives, I use the general context for both the House and the Senate, because to me it is a two-faceted problem. It is a National Assembly that is willing to play on the inactivity and in some instances gullibility of people, and it is also a citizenry that either does not know how to or has tried and has given up on being able to demand from these people to actually represent them. And if we don't fix those two facets, then we're actually deceiving ourselves and constantly putting these people in that office to just go and live off the largesse of Nigerians' monies.
Yes, you're addressing attempting to address the age-long debate of chicken and egg, cause and effect. Yes, and also answering this question, we've come to a long time to conclude that they say people actually deserve the kind of leaders they get. Before I used to make a but at a point I looked at things, I say, actually it's like, deserve this kind of leaders we get. Because, like you say, people, you will bring some genuine issue that affects the people. You still see the same people due to one peculiar, either religious, ethnic, regional, or even personal appointment, maybe his relation or anticipatory benefit, maybe I can also be appointed. They begin to attack that person that is genuinely raising issue that concern. Even the person that may be raising that issue may be even way better off than people that are attacking. Say, are you the only one? Do you think you're better than everybody? Are you better than, do you understand? So now, you see people, the populace are not actively engaging, but it can also be the other way around, that these people have tried. They have seen over time, where, just like you're saying about gas, tear gas, you see people have tested, do all manner of things, they ended up not bruised, was sorted, and left off, and people on their own. And they look back, all the things all the sleepless nights, all the effort, everything was in vain. And they've done this over the years. At a point, they grow numb.
Yeah.
They grow disillusioned. They grow, there was a discussion I was having. At a point, I was telling someone, is it that if they call me, at a point I stopped answering because I said, I was beginning to sound like echo chamber, repeating what I was saying over and over. At a point, I didn't, psychological, reflexively, I didn't know how I switched off. Because in my mind, if you begin to invest too much emotion you at a point you find out, is it worth it? Or should I use this energy at least to fend for myself and my family and what I can contribute to the society? But still, it comes to a point you say, no, you can't completely give up, because you have to continue fighting, because you don't know when it will give. Because when you hit a hammer on a wall, that first hammer may be the starting point, but it may look as if it didn't even make an impact at all. That's how it starts. Now, also coming to, for those of us who are Christian, Bible say, my people perish for lack of knowledge. If Nigerians don't know that this is how this thing should be, they are not educated enough that you can actually, it's no issue of waiting for these people to come with their SUVs, pour you dust, then share 5,000, 1,000 and bag of rice, and you go home feeling so good that you actually try to check what are the issues these people stand for. What are the principles? Do we even vote based on ideology? Do we even vote based on principle?
Or
all these parties we even have, what do they stand for? So that is even where the question starts from. So now, if the electorate don't even know that their legislator is supposed to hold them accountable, is supposed to do research based on, if they don't make this open, how will you know? So that's the starting point is of even making it. But that change have to also start from both sides. Why the pressure group have to pressure for them to open up, they have to also be willing to reform. But it's tougher for them to reform because is what they call class suicide. I told people, if Nigeria were clamoring for start working the way we want it to work, this set of leadership we have will not be there, because the dysfunctional nature of Nigeria threw up the kind of leaders that suit its nature, and they fight to preserve it because that is what is sustaining them. It's that system that threw them up there. So if you change that system, they won't be there. It's another set of people, character, behavior that will be there. So now they are in charge. They hold the power. Do you want them to commit suicide? So for them to change, you need to bring equal power or greater power to force them. So that's why I'm saying the protests need to be sustained. Other arms of the civil society, the media, the public need to also add the voices to amplify, so that they know the weakness of the masses. They know what they throw at us to, if they check, it's like it's religion that we work. They throw it. If they this one didn't work, they throw ethnicity. If it didn't work, they throw region.
And we keep responding.
We keep responding. That's what I'm saying.
Responding. We keep giving
and it works
into it
like magic anytime. And when you check these people, why they use all these things to divide us? Within that, this thing,
there is
they
no
don't
division.
understand what is religion or this thing.
There's
they
no
marry
division.
themselves.
It's interest.
They attend their party. They support themselves. Check when their daughters or this thing are marrying. Check. Even these people, we see think that they are abusing themselves. They are friends behind the scene. So at the bottom line, we need education. We need reorientation. The populace need to be educated enough to ask the right question. Because if they don't understand this, because most of us don't even understand that legislators need to have a legislative history. We need to know, what do you stand on? What have you voted over the years? What have you supported over the years? When this issue came up, where did you stand? What did you vote on? Because of this years or nays, something, we don't know where each of them stood or what they stand for.
And that's how a lot of them end up literally spending decades in the National Assembly.
And you don't know.
And they're just there. Okay. I believe we've spoken to all the areas around this conversation. Just in case you're just joining us, we're talking about how, despite protests at the House of Representatives, looking to retain the version of the Electoral Act Bill which they passed, which mandated electronic transmission of results, despite their protests, despite their voice votes against rescinding their version. The House still went ahead and harmonized along with Senate's version, and everything that has happened since then. But the question is, Nigerians, are we going to just let it be? Are we going to just let it rest there? And this is even, he talked about sustaining protests. Beyond the sustaining of the protest, what are other aspects of let me call it citizenship engagement and involvement that can engender the kind of response that we must get our representatives and lawmakers to give? Because you can see that there is a clear and obvious and insidious, wicked move to maintain that version that has the very high probability of bringing about problems come election season. So this is a call to Nigerians. He says civil society, and sometimes you want to look at civil society as something that is different from you. We are all civil society. It may not be under a particular umbrella or under a particular group. What are you going to do to lend your cause to the conversation around mandatory electronic transmission of results? The lawmakers at the National Assembly seem to have done something that shows that they've had their way today. And if you question the motives and you investigate it properly, then you know that there is work to be done going forward. And for assuming worst case scenario that nothing happens going forward for assent, because they've said that they will send it to the president for assent by the end of February. Assuming nothing happens to change what is sent to the president for assent, what is the next line of engagement that we can do so that the president also knows that he has a people to answer to beyond the legislature? Now at the executive level, what other levels of engagement can go on to ensure that the president passes what is the majority voice of the people, despite the shenanigans that seem to have gone on at the National Assembly? That also is a conversation that will come up. Senator, you said something about getting Nigerians to know, and we've been talking a lot about what's been happening concerning our budget. And I personally have decided that I'm going to bring this up as much as possible so that, while we're on the one hand fighting for an electoral system, an electoral process that we can trust, beyond the elections, what is also happening with Nigerians' money will also be, will come under a microscope, where Nigerians are looking at it piecemeal and saying, how is this money going into this? Last week, conversations around critical sectors of the economy like health, transport, power even, were up for discussion, where you had 1% or less than 5% altogether released despite budgetary appropriation amounts allocated to these critical industries. Now, today, we're seeing another conversation that has come under the microscope. Senate panel is querying a tribunal over 16 million naira spent on office fumigation. The members of the Senate Committee on Capital Market yesterday questioned the management of the Investments and Securities Tribunal over the expenditure of 16 million naira on cleaning and fumigation services in 2025 at a time when many Nigerians are grappling with economic hardship. There's a sense of irony there that it is the Senate and the Senate Committee that is tackling this one, but oh well, let's just move on. Apparently, this Investment and Securities Tribunal is a specialized fast-track civil court established under the Investment and Securities Acts of 2007, amended in 2025 to resolve capital market disputes, and they provide expert adjudication for investors and market operators with appeals lying at the Court of Appeal. The chairman of this tribunal, Aminu Junaidu, appeared before the committee to defend the agency's 2026 budget proposal. And in this particular 2026 budget, they had 16 million naira budgeted on cleaning and fumigation out of the 30 million naira appropriated for the item in the approved 2025 budget. I'm going to say that again. Based on the tribunal's 2025 budget performance report, the IST spent 16 million naira on cleaning and fumigation out of the 30 million naira appropriated for them for that item in the approved 2025 budget. And so the chairman of the Senate Committee, Osita Izunaso, APC, apparently raised the question about the expenditure, demanding an explanation for such a significant amount spent on cleaning services, while critical areas such as publicity received little attention, despite low public awareness of the tribunal's activities. And in response, the head of the unit, or the chairperson of the tribunal, Mr. Junaidu, explained that the tribunal conducts fumigation quarterly to prevent rodents from destroying sensitive documents. He added that cleaning services were outsourced across its zonal offices, and that was his defense of 16 million naira out of 30 million naira used for cleaning and fumigation services. This is despite the fact that the IST, a very sensitive tribunal, was doing little to nothing in terms of publicity. So publicity, because what you have in all of the budget defenses from what we saw in 2025 budget and what we're seeing in 2026 is critical areas pretty much ignored or not given enough priority, while you are having frivolous, if we will use the term, line items in their budgets showing huge amounts of money. I will let you respond to that in a little bit, but we need to go and take the news. Just let that information simmer in our brains in a little bit. When we come back, we'll get your response. Thank you.
It's okay. That is okay. It's okay. No, it's okay. Let me explain. It's okay. She off your mic.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info. Your mic is always on. Let's talk.
Audio
Nigeria, FCT, wherever it is that you're listening in from. It's still Hard Facts here on your number one talk station, 95.1 Nigeria Info. And we are delving into some critical issues around our country, Nigeria, and perhaps seeing if we can make some sense of it all. It's still Somi here, and I've got Senator Iroegbu also here with me in the studio. And just before the break, I had talked about the Senate committee looking critically into some of the MDAs, this one in particular being the Investment and Security Tribunal, and taking them to task over what perhaps they deemed a frivolous item in their budget of 2025, looking at 16 million naira spent on cleaning and fumigation. And of course, the chairperson of the tribunal, in his defense, said, I mean, we have to keep the rodents out. Is it an entirely unreasonable amount to spend on cleaning and fumigation in the country? Or perhaps we should be looking at some other line items. They've got quite a number of figures in this particular budget. So 16 million, I mean, no big deal. Well, what do you think, Senator?
I think even though it's not, when you compare to the overall amount people keep on embezzling, it's not.
It's a small something.
It's a small, but it's still from that small, the extent of the rods that can give you this thing. But just like I say, sometimes they use some of these things as a drama to really not make us not to even look at the real issues. Yes, why this is important to interrogate, to stop frivolity. Like I said, even though it may look significantly small compared to when you hear other amounts, but with this you can also know the extent of the rod. Now, the real issue, yes, even why the Senate is within their right to ask questions, to say, okay, why are we spending so much on this? Where are the key issues, the core issues? But also to fumigation and keeping is very important in home, in offices, is very important. You've had the issue of a snake and all this rat eating money and monkey eating money. Maybe that's why that is important. But on the human side, the budget line itself is not bad, but is to also interrogate this 16 million. Is you look at the market value, does it equate to? It may not that be out of place, but what we should actually be looking at is other very troubling stories that have been emanating, which also within the bounds of the Senate, which I expect the Senate to interrogate. You passed a budget of about 213 billion or so for a ministry.
Health.
Let even, because there's another minister, agriculture, also mentioned the same thing.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
About 200 and something billion, and only few millions were released. So, doesn't it call for national question, and even because health is very important? And doctors have been, health workers were on strike from November until just recently. If you go to a hospital, there is nothing to write home about. And recently, due to this snake, whether anti-snake venom or snake whatever, debate was raging on. You go to our medical centers, national hospitals, federal medical centers, and all, both federal and the state, there are nothing to write home about. And a minister, I know you must have taken him a lot, because it's like going against, principal, to come out and say, look, it's just like it's not even up to 1% of what was budgeted for, passed by the National Assembly, assented, approved, that was released. So how have these health centers, how have our health sector been surviving? And even the funny thing there, Somi, is that according to the Maputo Protocol, the African Union or World Health Organization, stipulation for percentage of annual budget, we are not even near the threshold of what health sector is supposed to constitute as a percentage of our annual budget. I think about 15% or so.
Is that not the Abuja Declaration?
Abuja Declaration.
Yeah.
Yes, which is even within here. And we are not meeting it up. And then the fraction that is passed, you are not, you didn't, appropriate up to or spend up to 1%. Doesn't it call for question? And they left it. They are exhausting their muzzle. They are, distracting us with all this rodent and whatever. Yes, even by no means ask those questions. But is this as weighty as what the issue I just raised? The same thing, Minister of Agriculture raised the same issue. And these are critical ministries. We are talking of food security. We are talking of food scarcity. We are talking of so many things, Majority of Nigerians are employed in this sector. Bandits and also are not allowing Nigerians to go to farm. Hunger and malnutrition are rampant in some parts of the country, And the not up to 1% of the budget as claimed by those ministers. Government have not, as in maybe the presidency or even National Assembly, have not come to either presidency dispute this or the National Assembly asking questions.
Life just
calling
continues.
people, life just continue. And these are humongous amounts we are talking about. Where did this money go? Secondly, Somi, as we are talking, 2025 budget was not implemented in 2025.
2024,
It was-
2025 budgets
Yes.
are still,
Yeah.
yeah.
And we are in 2026.
So for me, Senator,
So many things. And again, most state governors are borrowing to stupor. Federal government are borrowing to stupor. And they told us that when they remove the subsidy, there will be so much money available to them. And government will be saying we are releasing so much money to state government. What is happening? Where are those money? And me and you, we went from paying 187 naira per liter to paying to almost 1,000 naira. Somi, that money we are paying almost like 800 naira extra. Where is it going to? Where is it going
so
to?
you see that question that you've asked, for me, is where the conversation should continue. Because you mentioned Ministry of Agriculture, we all know about health. Transport also had a fraction of its budget released to it. What's it called? Power. Yesterday, everybody, ADC, the whole of Abuja, pretty much all of Abuja is in darkness. So these are critical questions. So the next thing then becomes, where is the money going to? Is it a question that we're just going to ask and we're going to leave alone? How do we continue from that question and get to the answer?
So that's it, for us not to be distracted. That's why I was saying that this thing, 16 million naira, yes, is important to ask, but these are not, they are core issue. From if we start from that, then we descend, or even if you ask this question, we shouldn't stop at this.
No, but you see the thing about this 16 million naira story. It is a microscopic representation.
I said
of the bigger picture that we have, because
and so what I'm saying is that
affected
let
pretty
us
much
not
everything.
use this microscope and make it the bigger issue. We may fall into the temptation of leaving the substance and chasing shadow, of majoring in the minor.
And minoring
in the major. I told you about the diversional tactics of these people, how they can create drama so that you leave the main thing. So they can now magnify this one, talk about it, and give you a sense that they are working.
So staying focused looks like answering the question of where the money is going to.
Yes,
right?
where the money is going to, beyond this. So that we don't get distracted. You give them thumbs up. They're asking the right question. But this is to give you, like I said, this give you an inkling of a bigger rot.
So in answering that question of where the money is going to, where should we now focus our searchlight on, and how can we start getting these people to answer this question?
There was a work that eventually made him a popular person he is today. That was that singular project. Hamza Lawal.
Follow the money.
Follow the money. It was, but I don't know now if a lot of effort like he put there. These are kind of things we need. Both the CSOs, both the other pressure groups, the media,
yes,
to amplify these issues. Keep it on the front burner. Another thing I told you about this diversion, like I noticed a long time ago, how government do to, in Nigeria, they say our attention span highest 1 week. We talk about, we can't sustain issue because the problem is too much. So they keep on manufacturing problem to keep us talking. So I noticed that was during the Obasanjo period. I was still younger in my this thing. So on my own, I noticed that pattern.
Okay.
So that when a scandal or an issue comes up and Nigerians are talking about it, everybody passionate, government try to do all those this thing, work. They will release even bigger scandal. You abandon, no conclusion on the other one.
Mm-hmm.
You say, hey, this one. As you are trying to, another one comes on. You keep on chasing, so you lose tracks. So you see that fires are littered all over the place that
yes,
you don't even know which one to quench. And you may eventually leave where the source of that fire is, and start chasing the secondary fires. So this is another of their issues. So, and this requires, in security, we talk about whole of government, whole of society approach to tackling insecurity, meaning that everybody must get involved, all hands on deck.
Mm-hmm.
In holding government accountable, it's not something that should be left to, there are this attitude we have, it's civil society, let them. We are all civil society. We are members of the public. So everyone, the media, the cause, CSOs, other private sectors, everyone should be a watchdog. Everyone should be speaking. Even the opposition, opposition must not be left for political parties alone. Civic, active citizenship, playing a civic role. It must not be that you hate government. It must not be that it's just calling their attention, because these government are manned by people with frailties, with their own idiosyncrasies, with their own weaknesses. Sometimes they can be caught by trappings of power or incumbency and forget. That's why sometimes most of them is when they get out of power, it's as if scale fell off their eye, because the perks of office can blind them. The way the Nigerian public office is cushioned with a lot of benefit. They live in bubble. It shields them from reality. After people, have you gone to watch the Triam Zone? Have you watched how it's cut off from the public? Once you enter there, you're in another world. Symbolically, it's created that way. There's a clear dichotomy between the seat of power and then travel to Germany or even South Africa here or even White House. Check where their seat of power. It's within where you can just walk past it and you are looking at it. From there, they are looking at the people. So, and you see that these people, you are connected to them. You are within them. You are serving them. You are looking at them. Their Bundestag is a tourist destination. You walk in there, you just pay, you go there, you walk around. But it's not like that. From the Eagle Square, you are just peeping to see what is there. You are just imagining what is there in the National Assembly or for you to be there, you are privileged. Either because if you're a journalist, you're a reporter, or you're working with a legislative aid, or you're this thing, you're that. But for the public, They don't know much about it. It's like a secret zone. Like you use the word court. So, and once they enter there, they see themselves as privileged member of the society. So, until you shake these people, you hold them accountable, you use the media, you amplify, all hands on deck, the religious groups, they are preaching against it, they are talking about it, then nothing will be done.
Okay. Let's open up the phone lines now and get your thoughts in. It's two stories, quite heavy, on their own. So, what are your thoughts on them so far? Concerning the Electoral Act, do you think that there is anything else that can be done to sway the how would I put this now, the high and mighty, if you will, because they seem to be taking on that stance concerning what they want vis-a-vis what the people want, and they insisting that their will prevail. What do you think? Do you think there's any hope left, and the things that we as Nigerians can still do to sway it? It's just this tiny little thing we're asking for compared to everything else that they have done to shape up for 2027. Let's get your thoughts on that. And also, from the microscopic view of what was happening at the Senate panel where they were querying this particular amount, Senator said, there should be queries cast, and there should be these panels and probes set up across all these other places who have had little to nothing given to them and expect a Nigeria that works. Where do you think, if we're to ask the question, where do you think the money has gone to? What are your thoughts on it? Someone has said at the time that government does not have money, and that's why you're seeing the way it is. Do you agree? Let's talk. 07009510000, 00959974869, and 00999300137. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, man. I want to greet you this afternoon.
Greetings to you, sir. Thank you.
I am calling you from Cuba.
What's your name, sir?
My name is Peter.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, I want to comment about this National Assembly, our legislators. If you take a proper survey of Nigerian citizens now, which member of the National Assembly will you say that their people are connected to them? The pure truth here is that all the people in Senate, they are detached from the Nigerian citizens. That is the truth. So, remember during Buhari time, they tried this e-transmission. It was debated upon also. It was passed out. So, for me, and for the few people I think I can talk to that listen to me, we have forgotten about this National Assembly people. We are just on our own praying to God. Thanks, my little contribution this afternoon.
All right, thank you very much. But again, the question is, how do we bridge this gap? You have reinforced Senator's position, talking about the disconnect and the fact that they are all in this little world and that is why they can do as they are doing and as they continue to do. The question is, how then do we bridge the gap, bring them closer to us, and get them to speak more for us than for their own individual and other interests? Hello?
Good afternoon, Auntie Somi.
Good afternoon, sir. Welcome.
I'm Olatunji calling from Cuba.
Go ahead, sir. You have a minute.
In fact, I'm really overwhelmed with everything that I've heard. But I want to shift back a little. I want to say, from 1999, what I used to know is that, even, okay, let me just say, for example, if the next election in the FCT, if FCT could carry the whole local government, there was the question in the sense that our interests are different. So I want to shift back a little. From 1999, I used to know when I was growing, there used to be different parties. Maybe in the local government, like the councillors, there will be different parties. So what I'm really trying to say, and again, we talk about the name or yes. I want to say our Senate or our parliament are not wired in that way that a senator or a rep will come and say his own side of me or yes. So what I really want to say and happy about is this. Nigerians all now, we are stand at a threshold, and this is the beginning. So I want us this is just the beginning. We should continue like this, and we are getting there. So in the sense that now we need to talk. In terms of our money, where it is going to, now we should not keep it. We should not wait and put our mouth. Because people on health center, we should be visiting the health center and know what is going on there, and we speak out. I believe we will get there. Because I was surprised.
I have to let you go, so it's time for the break.
This Ramadan, emotions ignite. Can rivals?
This is